Hello everyone, welcome to Chelsea Sport Focus. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a moment of breaking news. Let's get started.
Rodrigo breaking point at Real Madrid sparks dramatic Chelsea transfer twist as Marresca promises starring role. In a summer already bursting with transfer shockwaves, the latest tremor out of Spain and England has sent the football world into a frenzy. Real Madrid's Rodrigo goes, one of the most electric and technically gifted forwards of his generation, is now at the center of a fast-developing transfer saga with Chelsea Football Club. Sources close to both camps have confirmed that Rodrigo is growing increasingly frustrated at his situation under the new Real Madrid regime led by Xabi Alonso. The 23-year-old Brazilian forward, who has long pleaded for a consistent role on the left wing, his most comfortable and devastating position, has reportedly been denied that opportunity again ahead of the 2025-26 season. Despite his past importance to Los Blancos, Rodrigo has been informed that his role will likely be rotational next season, with the left flank fully reserved for Vinicius Jr. and the center increasingly built around Kylian Mbappé and Jude Bellingham. As a result, Rodrigo is now exploring a way out of Madrid. The left-wing standoff, Rodrigo versus Real Madrid strategy. Rodrigo's preference for the left is no secret. Over the past 2 seasons, when deployed on that side, his productivity has surged. But with Vinicius Jr. cemented as the face of Real Madrid's wide play and Mbappé's arrival making central spaces even more crowded, Rodrigo has been pushed to the periphery, quite literally. The breaking point reportedly came during a recent pre-season tactical session where Alonso made clear that Rodrigo would not be shifted from the right side. A frustrated Rodrigo left the training ground with his entourage already contacting intermediaries in England, notably Chelsea. This tension comes despite Rodrigo's impressive contribution last season, where he scored vital Champions League and La Liga goals. But in Madrid, being merely useful isn't always enough to guarantee long-term trust. The Brazilian, who has lifted every major trophy available at the club level, wants to feel like a centerpiece, not an accessory. Chelsea make their move, Marresca sees the missing piece. As news of Rodrigo's dissatisfaction leaked, Chelsea, fresh from a commanding Club World Cup semi-final victory over Fluminense, swiftly entered the picture. Head coach Enzo Marresca, who has already overseen a striking rebuild of Chelsea's frontline this summer, reportedly sees Rodrigo as the exact profile missing from his ideal attacking trident. And in internal discussions, Marresca has not held back. If Rodrigo comes, he is a starter. No question. He fits perfectly in my system. His intelligence, movement, and ability to combine in tight areas are everything I want in my forward line, Marresca told Chelsea staff following their match in New Jersey. That promise of a guaranteed starting role, and more importantly, being deployed on the left wing, has captivated Rodrigo's camp. They believe this would allow the Brazilian to return to his most dangerous form and evolve into one of the Premier League's most lethal attackers. Agent pushing for Stamford Bridge transfer. Rodrigo's agent, Nick Arcuri, has reportedly been working behind the scenes since June to identify a club willing to center their system around Rodrigo's natural strengths. Now, with Marresca's offer of a central role in a vibrant young team, alongside João Pedro, Enzo Fernandez, and Moises Caicedo, Stamford Bridge is emerging as the most viable and exciting option. Arcuri has already flown to London twice in recent weeks to hold informal meetings with Chelsea's sporting director and legal team. While no formal bid has been made yet. The Brazilian connection. Sources inside Chelsea's training base in the US reveal that João Pedro, a fellow Brazilian who has instantly become a fan favorite, has already spoken to Rodrigo in a private call. The two players have known each other from youth international duty and see the idea of linking up at Stamford Bridge as a major personal and professional step. Rodrigo is one of the best of our generation, João Pedro reportedly said to close friends. If he comes here, we're going to tear teams apart. It's time we Brazilians lead the show. Chelsea's recruitment strategy is leaning heavily into a Brazilian core, and Rodrigo would be the crown jewel of that movement. Real Madrid's shift in priorities. Xabi Alonso, known for building teams with defined tactical discipline, is leaning toward a narrower structure that favors overlapping fullbacks and vertical midfield runs. That vision suits Vinicius Jr., Mbappé, and Bellingham, but not necessarily Rodrigo, who thrives with width and freedom. There's a sense among insiders that if Rodrigo wants out, Madrid won't force him to stay. In fact, Alonso has already begun considering Gulla and Brahim Diaz as potential successors in rotational roles. Madrid legend Rumours is also said to have advised Rodrigo to seek a club that builds around him if he wants to reach world-class status consistently. The clock is ticking. Chelsea now face a window of opportunity that could define their attacking identity for the next 5 years. They have already brought in elite youth and versatility, but Rodrigo would bring elite pedigree, Champions League level experience, and true star power. With Nicolas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku both facing uncertain futures, and Marresca seeking one more headline signing before the season begins, the timing could not be better. If Chelsea want to signal to the world that they are done playing catch-up and ready to challenge again for domestic and European titles, signing Rodrigo would be a statement for the ages. As for Rodrigo, the message is clear: he's no longer content being second choice. He wants a system that plays to his strengths. He wants a manager who trusts him. And right now, that sounds like Chelsea. Moises Caicedo injury scare rocks Chelsea ahead of Club World Cup final as João Pedro dazzles on debut. Chelsea's commanding 2-0 victory over Fluminense in the FIFA Club World Cup semi-final was a night filled with brilliance, excitement, and ultimately, concern. As João Pedro lit up the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey with 2 sublime goals on his full debut, the Blues were handed an untimely injury scare as midfield powerhouse Moises Caicedo limped off late in the match, casting a cloud of uncertainty over his availability for Sunday's grand finale. A night of high emotion and unexpected tension. From the opening whistle, Chelsea looked composed and confident, asserting their authority over a Fluminense side that had hoped to spoil their journey. But the spotlight was firmly taken by João Pedro, the £60 million man signed just last week from Brighton. On his full debut, and against his boyhood club, no less, the Brazilian produced a masterclass in attacking brilliance. In sweltering East Coast heat, Pedro coolly curled home a magnificent opener in the 18th minute, showing poise, precision, and maturity far beyond his years. Then, just before the hour mark, he doubled Chelsea's lead with a thunderous strike that cannoned in off the crossbar. From that moment, there was little doubt Chelsea would march into the Club World Cup final. But the script took a tense turn just before the closing act. Caicedo's injury, a worrying moment. With Chelsea controlling the game and heading toward the finish line, 23-year-old Moises Caicedo collapsed to the turf in the dying minutes of regulation. The Ecuadorian midfielder had been everywhere throughout the match, chasing down passes, breaking up play, and helping Chelsea maintain rhythm and composure through the midfield. But one challenge, an innocuous-looking attempt to intercept a Fluminense counter, left him clutching his ankle. Medical staff rushed to his aid, and after several minutes of on-pitch treatment, Caicedo attempted to return. But the limp persisted. Moments later, Chelsea were forced to continue with 10 men, as Caicedo could not finish the match and all 5 substitutions had already been used. It was a worrying sight for fans and teammates alike, especially with the final looming just days away. Marresca provides update. Following the match, Chelsea boss Enzo Marresca addressed the media and provided a key update on Caicedo's condition. The Italian coach sought to reassure supporters, saying the injury didn't appear too serious but confirming that the club will continue to monitor the player closely over the coming days. Moi, with his ankle, when it happened I told him, because there were just 2 or 3 minutes to go, we could play with 10 players, Marresca explained. It's important that we don't get too worked up because we have a game on Sunday. Hopefully he can be fit on Sunday. We'll see. Marresca also confirmed that youngster Dario Esugo, who has impressed in recent training sessions, will not be available for the final either. Dario had a muscle problem yesterday during the session, so he is going to be ready for next season, the coach added. João Pedro steals the show. While the injury to Caicedo is a concern, Marresca was full of praise for João Pedro, whose dazzling performance was the story of the night. The forward not only scored both goals but played with confidence, flair, and maturity that suggested he could be the solution Chelsea have long been searching for in their forward line. We are very happy with João, Marresca said. We know João is a very good player and a student that he can be. He has qualities inside, like today. Marresca also pointed out a surprising factor that may have helped Pedro shine so brightly. He was on holiday, so he's a bit fresher compared to the rest, he noted. That's something that is important to be aware of. So, happy for João. Pedro's explosive debut has immediately thrust him into contention for a starting role in Sunday's final, where Chelsea will face either European champions Paris Saint-Germain or 15-time Champions League winners Real Madrid, both teams loaded with world-class talent and experience. The final awaits, a test of depth and resilience. For Chelsea, reaching the Club World Cup final represents both a badge of honour and a massive opportunity. The tournament, featuring some of the world's most elite clubs, is a chance for Marresca and his youthful, reshaped side to claim silverware early in the season and lay down a marker on the international stage. The win over Fluminense earned Chelsea approximately £22 million in prize money, boosting their already healthy financial position following a summer spend exceeding £140 million. With players like Jamie Gittens, Liam Delap, and Estevao Willian already integrated or waiting in the wings, and João Pedro firing from the get-go, the Blues are building something potentially formidable. But Sunday's final will be a true test of squad depth, particularly if Caicedo isn't fully fit. The Ecuadorian's influence cannot be overstated. He is the engine in midfield, the disruptor, the connector. Without him, Chelsea may need to shift tactics, possibly relying more heavily on Enzo Fernandez, who has already delivered 3 assists in this tournament, including a pinpoint ball for Pedro's second goal. Looking ahead, with Real Madrid and PSG set to clash on Wednesday to determine Chelsea's opponent in the final, the Blues have little time to dwell. Recovery, preparation, and injury management will be key priorities. All eyes will be on Caicedo's ankle in the coming 48 hours, and fans will be hoping he makes a swift recovery. For now, Chelsea can savour the moment, a polished performance, a debut brace from a new star, and a shot at global glory.